Welcome to this week's episode of MarTech Unravelled. Today, we have an amazing guest in studio, and we will be covering the topic of customer experience design. Our guest for today is Nyachomba. She is a certified customer experience professional and a transformational leader with over 19 years of experience enhancing customer experience to drive business growth. She specializes in human-centered design, process reengineering, and digital transformation, helping organizations optimize customer interactions, reduce churn, and increase revenue. Anne has worked in banking, insurance, data, technology, nonprofit, and the public health sectors, leading impactful CX strategies across Africa and Asia. She also serves on the CXPA Africa Advisory Regional Council, shaping CX best practices across the continent and growing the profession. She has been recognized for her contributions. She was a CXPA Impact Award finalist in 2023 and has been named among the awesome women to follow in CX twice, in 2024 and CX for Tech in 2025. We are in for a treat. Welcome, Anne.
Thank you, Fiona. It's an honor to be here.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Let's dive right in. And before we get into the nitty-gritty of customer experience, let's define it for our listeners. What exactly is customer experience?
So customer experience is the perceptions that customers have of your organization or the brand. And this is usually formed over many interactions. So it's formed over time. So basically, all touch points, the people and the technology. And just to unpack that for you, let's imagine you want to buy a phone.
Yeah.
If we were to take a typical behavior of a phone buyer, let's call him Kamau. Let's assume he's a banker. He's just gotten his bonus and he needs to get a good spec phone. So his journey would be, he's likely to go online and check out what phones are available, either because he's been seeing the advertisement or his friends maybe had recommended for whatever reason. So when he goes online, he's likely to be looking for certain features. I'm not the best example for looking for phone features. So maybe, I don't know if you're now, when you're looking for a phone, what features are important for you?
Oh, a good camera, storage, and it needs to look good.
Awesome. So let's assume Kamau is looking like for what you'd look for. So what the business, or rather what the phone company needs to avail to Kamau is the ability to compare. So I go online, I need to do my research on what phone I'm going to buy. So as Kamau, I will check all those specs, check the prices, evaluate whether it makes sense or it does not make sense. And then from there is where I'll make a decision or at least close down on what options are good for me.
Yeah.
So for phone company, what then you need to be providing for Kamau is to navigate when they get to your website and provide clear product details. So be as prescriptive in a way that will help him evaluate. Then most of the times what Kamau will do, he will go into a physical store. So when he gets to the physical store, it needs to look, it needs to have a nice look and feel. So what would that mean? It means the layout is clean and the products, the fonts that are available are well displayed with the specs, the pricing, and the stuff is well engaging. And should he settle on the one phone, let's call it Series A of a phone, should he settle on Series A, then the checkout process, that is the payment and whatever else, is easy for him. And when he takes away that box, you know, the new phone, well boxed, how does that make him feel? So is it well branded? Does it make him already start to feel like he's taking away something that is valuable? That is on the touch, we call them touch points. It means the different places where Kamau is likely to interact with brands. So on the people's side, when he went to the store, were those agents, were they knowledgeable, were they friendly? And you need also to walk him through the options that he's thinking through without it feeling pushy. So that experience, he needs not to feel pressured. And at the same time, when he gets out of that store and goes back home, should he experience any issues, like probably he's trying to transfer data from his phone, how easy is that? And should he require support on the support channels? How easy and responsive is that phone company? That is under people. And then the third is technology. How easy was it to set up? I've seen, especially for the elderly people, someone buys a phone and maybe because of age, they struggle to get it set up. So how easy is it for people to switch over to your phone, to your mobile phone handset? The contact transfer, setup of whether it's internet and whatever else. And at the same time, how easy is the in-support app? So if Kamau is having challenges, can he quickly go to the help section, see if he can either extract that information and sort himself out? And thereafter, the regular software updates. So think of it as Kamau's perception will be formed based on, at the point when he was seeking for the information, his interaction with people and his interaction with the technology. If it's consistent, if it's seamless, if the interactions are well designed, his perception of that brand will be that he'll value it, and he will feel like that brand values innovation, quality, and user experience. So in short, and in many words, is that a great customer experience should make a customer feel valued, understood, and engaged. And if Kamau likes his phone, that's how he'll go and tell his peers, his workmates, that, I had this great experience at the shop, or I met this agent, or this phone is doing ABCD for me. And lastly, marketing is there to place the brand out there. Customer experience is what that brings that to life. In short, it's the integrator that shows a brand has integrity. So you do what you said you'll do as a brand. You deliver what you promised the customer. So that's the role of customer experience in very many words. Yes.
Wow, I love your definition. I mean, you've really just shown us that customer experience, first of all, starts from when we look at, the purchase journey. I think you've really talked about the purchase journey. Starts from when the person is, searching for the product, all the way to when they have the product and they're using the product. That's one thing that really came out from your answer, but also showing that customer experience draws across so many channels. It's online, it's offline, it's in-store, it's product, it's technology. So customer experience is wide and it's deep.
Correct. It's the total sum of that experience. If any part of it is broken, then it changes Kamau's perception on that phone.
Okay. So a follow-up question is that, is customer experience relevant to all industries? I think sometimes the misconception that it only applies to service industries or only call centers. Is that the case? I believe, from your answer before, it's not the case, but please, tell us, is that really the case?
I believe that any industry that has a customer requires customer experience. So basically, all industries, all businesses require customer experience. It's just that it will look different from one industry to another. Let me just unpack that. A customer there's something we call a job to be done. And to simplify that, what is a customer trying to achieve in a certain, in different industries? For example, in a retail store, when you go to the shop, your expectations are that, or a supermarket, your expectations are that you will find variety, different price points, different quality, and then you have the choice. It provides you with the choice of what is most relevant for you. And if that store is understocked, if that store, the prices are not well labeled, it will just interfere with your whole experience of that. And so in a retail store, their focus would be different. They will be thinking about their checkout process, of course, to make sure that availability of stock, clarity in price, and when I say availability, I mean how well are the shelves stocked, and how many options are you giving for your customers? Because you'll find most supermarkets may be serving a wide range of customers. And are the staff helpful? Then let's move like to a different industry, maybe government. Government, we are seeking for services. And so what you're looking for is clarity of instructions. You don't want to go to seek for a service in a government office and you get there and realize out of the 5 requirements, you're only aware of 3. So that clarity and how efficient is the process and how courteous, how helpful are the staff as they are supporting you in whatever it is you're trying to achieve from a government office. Let's look at tech. For tech, they are looking for the ease of interaction with that technology. So it means as a tech company, when you're thinking about CX, then you're looking at ease of setup. It needs to not to be complicated. If it's a sign up, make it very seamless. Don't put too many loops for customers. They're looking at reliability. They are looking at uptime. They're looking at responsiveness in when they reach out to, whether it's a contact center, whether it's a chat, how easy is it to access you, how responsive and how helpful. So you see, it's the same concept, but looks different from industry to industry and depending on what the customer is trying to achieve. And we can probably pick a specific example. Let's say Netflix. What is a customer looking for? I want to be able, when I go online, I want to be able to quickly decide. People have different experience in terms of the movies, in terms of knowledge of movies. Some people are clear on the kind of movies they like, others are not. So as Fiona, when you get there, you want it to help you make the decision faster. You want it to be... you want that process to be smooth. At the same time, if for any reason you need to mute and walk away, you need to be able to come back and continue from where you had started. So then this is how Netflix would be thinking about it. Personalized recommendation, smooth playback process, quick resolution, of course, when it comes to like billing issues and all. And they also need to, of course, ensure that they have things that interest you as Fiona, that you keep subscribing. And that will look different if you go to Uber, or you're looking for safety in terms of ride. So it looks very different. So I hope that paints a picture of what it looks like in different industries. Same concept, but looks very different.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you are servicing customers, you need to think about customer experience.
You have to think about customer experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it sounds like with your examples, a business needs to understand the journey that a customer takes with the, each interaction or each, as you said, job to be done, or what is it?
What the customer is trying to achieve.
Exactly. Is it sign up? Is it payments? Is it searching for the right product? Is it applying for a visa? You have to understand what are the steps that your consumer goes through to achieve each one of those.
True. And the best way to do that is to imagine of Fiona even before she becomes my customer, and design way in advance. So that we are not being reactive. Like, I've thought about you, you're like, and this means, of course, using a lot of data points and all to really just understand my customer and be able to plan for her way before they even come to consume the product. So I need to think of that journey and make sure that it's smooth and well enough to make it effortless for you. In fact, there is one of the fathers of design who says, and allow me to misquote him, customers are lazy.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't say exactly that. He actually says that at the point of interaction, people prefer the path of the least resistance when interacting with products and services. So meaning, as you're thinking about Fiona's journey of coming to consume my product, then I need to make sure that it's so smooth that Fiona has no reason, has no points of friction when they're consuming the product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One, I totally agree with that. And I think it's even more pertinent now in the digital age. You know, we are bombarded with so much information. Our lives are a lot busier. Like, we just don't have time to figure things out. Like, I just need to get the stuff done. Can it be smooth?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in terms of like, you know, the guiding principles for designing a great customer experience, you've touched on it a little bit, but let's go a bit deeper. What are those guiding principles for an organization that's like, okay, so help me figure this thing out? How do I design this?
Yeah. So as you're designing, let's first remember that customers need the least effort to interact with your product or service. So let's pack that. Now, I would pick in 5 categories and I'll simplify them. So one is that you have to have a customer first mindset. So what does that mean? Brands must shift from what we want to sell to what the customer truly needs. And that means that you have to be very customer centric. Everything has to start with customers, their needs, their expectations, their emotions. So you need to leverage even on technology to be able to understand them in a very deep way. And then when we talk about customer first mindset, it's not just about customer centricity, but it's also creating that emotional connection. People remember how you make them feel. And brands are not
exempted from
that. They're not exempted from that.
Yes.
So you need to personalize that journey such that when I am interacting with you as a brand, I am feeling you did it for me as Anne, you did it for me as Fiona. So different customers, but having the same feeling. Like, at the end of the day, this brand has really taken the time to think about me. So that's one. So a customer first mindset. Then the second thing is that it needs to be seamless, effortless experience. And most customers will not give you a second chance. The moment I come to interact with your product or service and it has points of friction and it's not managed well, I move on to something else. And what would this look like? You need to ensure that you have seamless experience across your digital. You remember what we had spoken about touch points? Across your digital, physical, and human interactions. Because those are the core pillars that a customer will interact with for them to form their perception. And when we talk about effortless experience, it needs to be smooth. It needs to be easy. It needs to be well thought out, such that I am not, as a customer, using effort to interact with you as a brand. And another area that one has to think about is how you design your like there's data. There's a lot of things that support you to deliver this seamless experience, or for you to be able to execute on a customer first mindset. And so if you are talking about data-driven decision making, what it simply means is that you need to be able to leverage tools, and you're in MarTech. That's your area of expertise. And so being able to leverage on all the tools available to get insights that help you continuously refine and optimize for your customer. And when we talk about design thinking, it's simply always putting your customer first. Then number 4 is people and culture. People deliver experiences. If your employees are unhappy, your experience will suffer. If your employees are happy, your stakeholders will not be happy, because they need to be able to extend that happiness to your stakeholders, whether it's investors,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's partners, whether it's suppliers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so interconnected.
Yeah.
In fact, there's someone who keeps saying that CX is everyone's team sport.
Mm. Mm.
Yes.
Okay, say that again.
CX is everyone's team sport.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So meaning
Mm-hmm.
we have to collaborate cross-functionally. We need to get to a point where we stop looking at CX like a department.
Mm-hmm.
CX is for each and every one of us in everything that we do, because we are affecting the total outcome.
Yeah.
And this means, it means a lot of integration. It means a lot of having conversations and working together. And back to employees. Empowered employees are able to make quick decisions on the spot that can really just transform what that experience looks like. So you first need to give them the right tools, the right training for them to be able to deliver the experience. So when we think about people and culture, so think about cross-functional collaboration and think about your employees being empowered. And it has to be a continuous journey. There's nothing like arriving when it comes to matters of CX. Because first of all, remember, you're dealing with today's customers. And if I was to take like example remember a time when banks would compete on, I have mobile banking. So right now, everyone has mobile banking.
Yeah.
So it stops being that thing. And it's so for so many other technology. Even when you have players in an industry who like lead, with time, you come to realize that everybody else catches up.
Yeah.
And so the game stops being, I'm the one with the newest tech. Everybody has it or will get it.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, that our customers' expectations are evolving.
Yes.
Mobile banking has become a basic expectation.
Yeah,
so it's no longer that thing to wow them. So it means that organizations have to be very intentional in how they integrate continuous processes to be able to tap into the changing customer mindset, expectation on a day-to-day. And once again, customer experience is not a set and forget. You have to listen, analyze, and refine over time. So for you to be able to achieve the continuous improvement, it means that you need to put tools in place that enable you to keep listening to your customers. So to summarize, customer first mindset. Number two, it has to be very seamless. You have to think about how you design your data and innovation. And people and culture is number 4, and continuous improvement. So with that, it will give you a holistic, continuous way of just designing and improving your customer experience. You'll never arrive. It's a continuous journey.
Yeah, no, I like the fact that you're saying it's a continuous journey because the consumer is also changing.
Yes.
New technologies are coming, new tastes, new trends, so you cannot be, just staying stale because your customer is not staying stale.
Correct.
I want to take you back a little bit,
Okay.
on it being customer first, customer centric.
Yeah.
It's a word that has been talked about a lot.
Yes.
And a lot of organizations want to be customer first. What exactly does that mean? Like, how do you become customer first, customer focused, customer centric?
So if you're thinking of your product, so number 1, have you understood what your customer wants? Or are you designing because it's something that is firing up in your soul that you just want to go and start? So it has to be, yes, you have that brilliant idea. Let's say like if it's a tech product, but then you have to go speak to these customers and co-create with them. And I can give an example. When most companies are, for example, creating their, let's take a loan app. So you have the basics that you think you need, but then I have to come and test with you as my customer. The way the layout is it working for you? Like in terms of the UX UI, is it working for you? I have to, the steps that the customer needs to follow through, are they customer friendly? So it's that continuous loop of, before you do any changes, before you make any adjustments, it's about the customer and not about what you want to do as the designer. It's about the customer. So making sure that you're always your decisions. And I think for you to get that right, it has to be going back to what does the customer truly need. If you start from that and then now start working, what do they really need? I there's one quote that I like, and you can remind me. I think it was Henry Ford who said that if customers were asked what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse.
Yes, yeah, I remember that quote. Yeah.
So sometimes it's trying to understand. If you understand what the customer wants, then you're able to design for them, right? So he knew that customers are looking for the convenience of movement and how then can we increase that speed. And that's how he thought about now making the car. So if you understand their need, and you try to solve for the right need, then you'll always get many other ways of delivering that.
Okay. So it's listening to your customers, asking them what they need, involving them in the creation of the product and the continuous updating of the product.
Absolutely. And listen, when complaints come, I keep saying a customer complaining is an opportunity. That's an insight that is telling you that there is something possibly wrong. So dig deep into it and understand. Yeah, because at the same time, that complaint could be, is it something about the way you've designed it? Or is it something about it? Because it could also be maybe sometimes you may need to educate the customer. But then if you find yourself also over educating, it means then your design is already faulty.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of nuances. But I think most important is staying true to acting on customer feedback.
Okay. I think you also touched on this as well about, it's not a set and forget kind of thing. We need to be continuously monitoring and so on. Maybe you can give us a bit more information about how to monitor, how to measure. What are the metrics or what are the tools that a business can use?
So I think as long as we remember that customer experience is, think of it as a breathing part of your business, meaning it's live, it changes. And so when you think about how to incorporate that, so first I would say lead. And what does lead mean? It's an acronym.
Okay. Yes.
But you need to track and improve the experiences. And when you say, if you have a lead model, it means you're listening to your customers. It means you're evaluating. So when that feedback is coming in, you're evaluating, and there are many metrics. So we have customer experience specific metric, but also remember customer experience affects many other things within the business. So within customer experience, we have metrics like net promoter score. But it's mostly used to measure the loyalty, because the question it's asking, would you recommend? I know right now most people, when you go to most of these brands in Kenya, whether it's bank, restaurants, most of them are doing it. You'll get a text asking you, how would you rate your service? And some of them will ask, would you recommend our brand to your friends and family? So that's called an NPS. It's a very strong score in trying to help businesses understand the probability of getting additional business based on loyalty. Because if your name is happy with my coffee, it means she can go tell her friends, and that's a new business. So referral. Then we have others that specifically measure specific elements within a service. So we have there's the others like customer effort score. So that one checks how easy is it for us to do business with customers. So then you'd be asking a customer something like, how easy was it for you to use our app? How easy was it for you to access us? And then from there, then the business knows the level of effort that a customer is using to do their business. But there are other metrics that are important that are not spoken about so often. Depending on your... First of all, these metrics, it's dependent on where you're trying to go as an organization, your objective. But there's some basics like churn rate. If your churn rate is too high, it means that there's something wrong. So why are customers churning away from your business?
Yeah.
We keep thinking about the quality, like within a contact center. If you find, I always think that measuring based on customers, like the speed of, not speed, but the length of a call might not be the most efficient way. I think it's understanding, being able to look at data and measuring how are you, like repetitive, how repetitive are the complaints that are coming.
Right.
So the other metrics that are not really spoken about, I know most people know about NPS, they know about CSAT, but the other metrics that are really business focused that are not spoken more about. If let's say you're having a conversation with a CEO, part of the language that they'll understand is, if this and this process is not fixed, then it means we are likely to lose X amount of business. So I think when it comes to evaluating, it should differ depending on industry per industry, but then we have also the basic, we have the standard customer experience metrics that help businesses to be able to measure amongst themselves. Then as you're listening, as you're evaluating, you need to adjust. So don't just listen, but what is that data telling you? What are those insights you're getting? And how do you use that to actually do actual changes, whether it's in your processes, and how do you improve experiences as a result? And of course, deploy. So you may have very nice changes, but then how do you ensure that you're using that to do actual changes, like to take those changes live, to test them and iterate, and to continuously, like we keep saying, it's a continuous cycle. And what does a continuous cycle look like? Constantly analyzing. You need to use data, AI, predictive analytics to anticipate your customer needs and to understand them better. You need to keep breaking the silos, because you cannot achieve good CX if there are parts of your business that are not delivering good business. And you have to train. Your employees have to continuously be trained. And then the last one is you need to keep being agile and aligned. So going back to how aligned is your CX strategy to your brand vision, to your long-term strategy, and ensuring that you're continuously making sure you're redefining that, but with the customer at the top.
Now, I know organizations sometimes, I mean, CX is a fairly, wouldn't say it's super new, but I think it's gaining more and more traction. And I think you've really reiterated the point that it has to be something that is infused in the culture and not just a department sitting on its own trying to do its own thing. Like CX cuts across every department. In your experience, how do you inculcate that culture? Is there like a process? Is it like, what does that look like? Is it having daily or weekly meetings about CX with different departments? How is that integrated and made into a cultural thing?
I think it will look different from organization to organization. But there are some basic principles. It's involving the people. If people understand the why, then it becomes easy for them to commit. So if they understand the importance, if that person sitting in accounts, no hate for accountants, lots of love. If that person sitting in accountant understands that there's need, the reason why they even have money to account for is because there is a customer somewhere, and for that customer to continuously bring that business, there's a way they need to experience that brand, then there will be a mind shift. And to the CFO, in terms of investment, if you invest in that CX, so it's first getting everybody to understand that CX is embedded in everything that we do. And for us to be able to deliver that experience, it requires everybody in this organization. So starting by everybody understanding the why it needs to happen and carrying them along that journey. And by the way, the best experiences comes from within the organization, like the best ideas. Because remember, the employee who is serving that customer is experiencing the pain on behalf of the customer as they're delivering that service, right? And so they likely, because it's something they interact with on a day-to-day, they already have an idea of what needs to change or what could be different. They are in touch with these customers and they also listen a lot. So it's a lot of integration of both employee feedback and also just creating the culture in terms of what is the leadership carrying. Because remember, the culture of the organization is highly influenced by the organization leaders. So what are they saying about CX? So is CX that department that sits on the other side, or the ones who look like they're doing fancy things? Or is CX part of what everybody is trying to do? So any company that keeps talking about customer being, we are here for the customer, they need to leave it. And it starts to start at the top. So it's the top, you integrate everybody and you execute. And people get fatigued if they keep giving you the same feedback and it's not being acted upon. So even when employees give you feedback, make sure it's executed and keep listening and executing. Because nobody wants, even customers, they get survey fatigue. If I keep giving you the same feedback and you're not listening to it, then why do I need to keep giving you the same feedback? Yeah.
100%.
And metrics that matter. So within that business, people keep saying what gets measured, gets done. And think of that in terms of looking for the metrics that are important for your business and incorporating it such that everybody also has a sense of accountability. Because then there cannot be you may try to do all these other things, but accountability sometimes is best measured by the output, like the output being seen and being measured, being seen. That is tangible.
Okay, so customer experience affects your bottom line, affects customer acquisition, customer retention, customer sentiment, customer loyalty, basically everything to do with the business.
Absolutely everything. And remember, statistics show that at least the cost of bringing in a new customer is much more expensive than the cost of keeping a customer. So instead of going to run around getting that new customer, make sure that the one that is already here is happy enough. So go get that business, but make sure you're also able to maintain.
Now, you recently wrote a very vivid article on LinkedIn about your experience in New Zealand. And those of us who read it were like, oh my goodness, we need to put New Zealand on our bucket list based on what you said. And, from a tourist and consumer perspective, how did, the great customer experience you experienced in New Zealand make you feel?
Oh, Fiona. So first of all, let me not talk about how beautiful the country is. And Kenya is very beautiful. And New Zealand is very beautiful. And I think for me, what was so fascinating and what made me write that article is just a reflection. Imagine interacting, especially in the service space, every person being made to feel important. In every shop I walked, I felt very important. In every shop I walked, in every restaurant. Like the consistency, I think for me is what was really interesting and very admirable. And to me, I just kept on thinking this must be a culture that is so inculcated within the people that they are curious. So when you walk in, they're curious about you as a customer. They want to understand, how can I help you? I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, you felt seen.
I felt seen as a customer. I felt wanted. Like in fact, I felt guilty window shopping. And when a customer feels guilty for window shopping, it means they've been treated so good, they feel guilty not leaving the money. Yeah. And I think that's where every business needs to aspire to be, to make your customer feel so like wanting to just leave their money with you, trusting you with whatever it is that you're offering, trusting that you're, that was really amazing.
Yeah.
And I'll unpack more stories. There's more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In another episode?
Yes.
Excellent. Also, I think, when your customer experience is impeccable, your customer also feels bad buying from a competitor.
Absolutely. And that's where loyalty comes in. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So as we close, for those organizations wanting to get a handle on their customer experience, I think it's not even a negotiable. If you have customers, if you're selling to customers, you need to get your customer experience right.
Absolutely.
What parting shot would you give them? What advice would you give them as to what can they do as of Monday? Today's Friday. As of Monday, what should they be thinking?
So first, start by just understanding your customer or evaluating. Do you really understand your customer? And when we talk about understanding your customer, listen in. We have so many tools right now online, where you can listen in to your customers, whether it's through survey, analyze that feedback and really just understand your customer, understand their pain points, because it's in the pain points that you're likely also to pick out the opportunities. And then map out their journey. When Kamau was thinking about the phone, if you understand the process he's going to go through, you anticipate him and you plan for it and ensure that when he's going through the process, he's not experiencing any frictions. And then align your teams. CX is a team sport. Not my quote, but I really resonate with that quote. You need to break those silos within that organization. It's not that CX team that sits across the table. It is for everybody. Because if you treat your customer well, then they'll have reasons to bring their money to you and trust you with their money. Then leverage on technology. There's so many tools, whether you're a small business, whether you're corporate, there's so many tools that you can use to be able to even get to a point of personalizing those experiences. And you also need to understand, even as you use tech, sometimes it's in the simple things. It's in the simple, basic things that brands also need to remember. And of course, measure and iterate. What metrics are important for your business? Figure out and measure that. And always remember, there is no CX without EX. There is no customer experience without employee experience. At the end of the day, the intersection of all these things is how the attitude, the enthusiasm of your team. So you need to make sure that you also take care of the employees. And on top of it all, bringing it together is to always remember it's about the customer. So you'll find businesses that are very focused on the processes and whatever, and they're good. But even those internal processes, sometimes they can become the hindrance to good experiences. So as you're having those processes, how customer-centric are they? Because I feel like businesses overlook that. So start with the customer. Remember your employees. Use technology and understand those journeys, measure. And then remember that customer experience is not a destination. It's you'll not arrive. It's a continuous journey. And it has very good impact. Like CX is that supports marketing, supports sales in keeping the brand promise. So that then when the customer comes here, or what marketing said the brand was meant to do, it's being actually delivered and felt. Yeah.
Mic drop. Right there. I think that sums it up so well, so well. I will just ask one last question. You alluded to it. Is CX applicable to small businesses as well?
Absolutely. Anybody who has a customer has to think about that customer. It's just that it will look differently, even in terms of the tools that probably a small business will employ compared to like a corporate. But it's, you have a customer you're serving. Do you understand that customer? Do you really understand them well enough to be able to design? So it means talk to them, understand their aspirations, understand the emotions they are going through and they're interacting with you. Like, there's a lot to be learned by just talking to your customer. So yes, even small businesses, you have a customer, CX is for you. And I believe every business, there's no single business that exists without a customer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. This has been so enlightening. Thank you so much for gracing us on this podcast. Where can our listeners find you if they want to read more of your amazing articles and learn more about CX?
Oh, thank you, Fiona. Actually, I'm just about to drop a hot one. And so on LinkedIn, it's Nyachomba -CCXP. Commerce ACIM and Nyachomba. That's a very unique name though, so I'm easy to find.
Excellent. Thank you once again, and we look forward to engaging again in the future.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's always a pleasure to talk about Matter CX. Thank you.